Inside of our bodies is a molecular ocean. We have waves. We could think of our whole fluid system as though it resonates with the ocean. Inside of our mother's womb, when we were forming, the embryonic solution is just a few molecules away from seawater. And the water that's the fluid that's in our brains, bathing our brain and our spinal cord, the cranial sacral fluid, is also salty and viscous. And it's full of the nutrients and all the molecular needs that our body needs to function. Proteins, minerals, elements, and it flows. Craniosacral fluid flows from the ventricles in our brain, around the sides, down through the cranium, down the spinal cord, and out to the body. So if you imagine that motion, it's like this and out. If you want to simplify it, it's down, out to this periphery, from the center out. So all the new fluid keeps being generated, going out, bathing every cell in our brain and the spinal cord, and then communicating with all the other fluids, because the salt water that's inside of our cranium and our spinal cord, that salty, viscous craniosacral fluid, communicates with the other fluids right where the nerve roots go out. There we have another fluid system going out to all the rest of the body. But for our ability to visualize the movement, just imagine that it's a constant flow. It's like high tide and low tide. We've got high tide filling up, then it's empty and new comes in. It's constant. And the basic rhythm of a cycle of craniosacral rhythm, the craniosacral rhythm, is approximately 6 to 12 cycles a minute. An ideal breath is about 10 breaths a minute. No, I'm sorry, 6 breaths a minute, so it's like 10 seconds. But there's a similarity between those rhythms. So if you think about that, if you were the universal conductor, you have all of these cycles and rhythms that are coordinated. And there's a place where they connect. And that's the place that I'm going to address as a still point. Another way to access it besides the craniosacral rhythm, craniosacral motion, the cycle, is breath. So the space between the inhale and the exhale, that pause can line up with the pause in between low tide and high tide. So all of those rhythms are connected. The rhythms within our own body, and I'm not even discussing all the other rhythms like heartbeat and lymph, but they all interrelate. For us, the easiest access is our breath. We're going to work on attempting for you to be able to access it with the craniosacral rhythm so that you can extend that pause and dive deep into your molecular ocean. Okay, next I'm going to give you some practice.